Well, hi there.
Well, hello there.
Hello. Oh my gosh, we're like so close.
Let me scooch.
There is an explanation for that, and we'll give it in just a moment. But let me say, welcome. Welcome to 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir. I'm Robert Nasir.
You know who I am.
It's so cute with your hairpiece there, your
Yeah,
babushka.
it's like
knit.
a little, it's a little thing that my daughter gave me. My stepdaughter gave me, actually.
Super cute.
And
my
cute.
gosh.
Thank you very much.
I've just got the same old hat. Folks, thank you for joining us. Excuse me. For 5 Minutes with Robert and Amy Nasir, and this is our pre-travel edition. And the reason why things might look a little bit different, you may be saying, I think the depth of field is all wrong. Like, they're way too close to the camera. And the reason for that is that we're traveling this week. So you get one last show here in the studio, but we are using our remote setup.
Yes.
So the remote rig, you get the close-up camera that we will use on the road, not the big camera that usually is 6 feet away from us and doesn't have those depth of field problems where you gesture with your hands, and my God, his hands are enormous. So that's why that. No special lighting, nothing more than we will use on the road when we go live.
Check.
Remains to be seen if it will be the usual Sunday at 6 p.m. next week, but we'll see what we can do about that. And let me bring up my chat on the YouTube side of, or excuse me, on the Facebook side of things. Oh, there we are. Yes, we are live. Good. And Frank says, Ocon. That's right. That is the big up and coming event. And hello, Paul. Hello, Christopher, on the YouTube side of things. On this fine June 29th, this is our last show for June. And June is the last show, or the last month of the first half of the year. How's your year? How's 2025 been for you? Answer that, and then hold off for a second and answer that question again. If I ask you, how's 2025 for you, aside from politics?
Yeah, right.
Aside from world events? Maybe for some of us, certainly for me,
good.
A little different answer. Today is Sunday, June 29th, the 180th day of the year, 185 days remaining. That means when we get to the next show, whether it's next Sunday or any time around there, we'll be like, the year is more than half gone. But if it's been a good year for you so far, it was worth it. Did you invest those 180 days well?
Yeah. Well, thankfully, there's going to be more years ahead, I think.
Well, that's true. It's not like this is your last year. But it should be, can be, will be your best year if we have anything to say about that. Christmas is in 179 days. Okay, end of the year stuff, but we're getting there. Did
you mention Halloween yet?
Have I mentioned Halloween yet? Let's see.
It's here.
It's
here already.
I don't think I meant. Yeah, I was going to say Halloween's in 124 days, but if I asked you, you would say,
Happy Halloween, folks. Happy Halloween.
It's Ebenezer Scrooge advised us to keep Christmas throughout the year, and Amy has taken that to heart with Halloween.
Both. I do Christmas. That's the baseline is Christmas, and Halloween is just all the extra fun stuff.
Yeah, well,
that's my perspective of life.
more power to you. Halloween in 124 days. That seems close. 179 sounds like a lot. 124 doesn't. And on this date, I think I'm just going to go with one.
Do you want me to talk?
Yeah, talk for a minute while I clear my. Let's clear my throat.
All right, on this date, June 29th, 1974.
1974.
Soviet dancer Mikhail...
So 16 years ago.
Yeah, 16 years ago.
Oh, plus the other 25. Okay.
Soviet dancer Mikhail Baryshnikov Defects from the USSR. Hooray!
He got out. And he did this in Canada, Soviet Kanukistan of all places. I shouldn't say that anymore. I think we're becoming more socialist than Canada in all of the ways that hurt the most.
It's true.
But our north of the border friends will tell us what they think of that.
Yeah, let me know in the chat what friends and admirers called Mikhail Baryshnikov. If you know what the nickname for Mikhail Baryshnikov is, let me know in the chat. And he was 26 years old when he defected. Thank you, Canada. Thank you for providing that. He later became a U.S. citizen, and he also had double citizenship in Latvia. where his family was originally from. Latvia is right next to Estonia, which is pretty awesome, and they're both pretty awesome countries. And hopefully one day we'll go there. And but that's where he was from.
Yeah, and I didn't know that when his dual citizenship was in the 2000s, I think 2006, that Latvia gave him honorary citizenship. And I thought, why is this random Eastern European country giving Mikhail Baryshnikov? Apparently he liked the country for some reason. Well, looking into it a little further, he was born in Latvia. He was raised in Latvia. Latvia was part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and I got to...
And now it's not. And it was way past those bad days when Latvia said, "You're one of ours. We want to give you citizenship."
Yeah, that's really nice.
Love it.
And shout out to my French teacher from high school, Zyga Hauserman.
Zyga Hauserman.
Who, if it wasn't for her, it would have delayed my discovery of Ayn Rand. She actually had The Virtue of Selfishness on her bookshelf.
While you were in high school?
In the classroom.
Very cool.
And my jaw dropped. I'm like, oh, it's a Nietzschean. And I'm like, I'm so wrong.
Excellent. Another
anyway.
check-in from the chat. Jason Adams of Objectivists Matters is checking in. Hello. And let me know in the chat if the audio is good. We're using a condenser microphone that's not our usual one.
Check.
Yeah, and Amy does not have a separate microphone,
No.
so...
Just my thumb.
Usually I have a second microphone so Amy can get cranked up a little more, because I'm a loudmouth and Amy's not.
My voice doesn't carry unless I scream like a banshee.
Hush, hush.
You don't want to hear that.
You are Amy, but not Amy Man. Amy Amy Man. Hush, hush. Voices carry.
Yeah. Okay, so what else here? So we've got, his nickname, Mikhail Baryshnikov's nickname
Yeah, my
is
brother's name is Michael, but we did not call him...
Misha.
Misha, yeah.
Misha Ita.
And Mike, if you're listening, you know that would not have gone over well anyway. You're not a Misha. But Mikhail Baryshnikov was.
Yeah.
Yes, a great dancer.
Yeah, he became a U.S. citizen on July 3rd, day before Independence Day, 1986.
And I love calling back to that because I vaguely remember the days of the Soviet... In fact, not just vaguely, because the Soviet Union persisted until the end of the 1980s. And as bad as Russia, Putin is, and the war in Ukraine is, which I think has lasted much longer than it should have if it had been handled properly by Ukraine's allies... Still nothing like the Soviet Union. Still nothing like when the Soviet Union was constantly threatening the United States with nuclear annihilation. Ah, the bad old days. People wonder, Robert, why are you so optimistic? And I'm like, it's because of what I've been through. And I haven't been through the worst of things. You can talk to people who've been in wars, or God forbid, people who've been prisoners of war, or worse than that, people who've been in concentration camps, and they will often be, if not the most optimistic, then at least the people with the most peace of mind that you will meet. So, I certainly can't complain. Mm-hmm. So yes, we do honor Mikhail Baryshnikov, still with us. 80 years old today, was it?
Maybe.
No, it wasn't his birthday. Actually, we have one birthday today. And that's one for you as well.
Yes, it is one for me. By the way, I love Mikhail Baryshnikov. I had a crush on him when I was a girl. With the Nutcracker production, and he's great.
Did you know he was only 5'5"?
Yes. I mean, I didn't know at the time.
See, you shorter guys out there who say, man, chicks won't date anybody who's shorter than they are. Yeah, they will. All you got to do is learn how to dance like Mikhail Baryshnikov.
Yeah. Or Iggy Pop, who's only 5'1".
Well, he's not actually 5'1", but he's not a tall guy. Yeah, love that song. In fact, they played that last night at a party, the CIA, the band that we saw a few weeks ago. And let's see, here we go. Okay. Sorry, I got some more chat action coming in, and one of them was something I had to attend to there. So, very good. Under holidays today, it says it's National Hugging Day, but I think that's an arbitrary and manufactured one, because I know the official National Hugging Day is January 21st, and I thought, well, then it can't be June 29th. But then I thought, wait a minute. Isn't every day Hugging Day?
Every day is Hugging Day.
If you haven't gotten a hug recently, find somewhere you can get a hug. And it's not hard. if you're willing to go out there to places where people hug. Find the kind of activities where people are hugging, or just find your family, find your friends, find your people. I'm not a hugger, but I'm kind of an aspiring hugger. I'd like to be more of a hugger. So I went to a party last night, for example, and
Oh, did you hug people?
and I hugged. These weren't guys who shake hands; they're guys who hug. The local punk rock scene, classic rock scene, rock and rollers, garage bands, and they were huggers.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
John's of course a hugger, but Jetto and Ernie, they're all huggers.
Yeah, that's nice.
Get yourself some body contact out there. I did give Mira, some of you will know who that is, a Christian side hug.
Oh, did you
Give me that
did you
Christian
see Mira?
side hug. Yeah, when I had dinner with Diana,
Oh, really?
stopped by the house.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's great.
She's recovering from an operation that
yeah.
demanded that the hug be a side hug. But it was kind of funny because I still remember the Christian side hug. If you haven't seen it, it's not in the show notes, but you can search for it. And it's a video about, if you're a Christian, when you hug people, if you, hug them face on like, the non-Christians do, the private parts kind of come into play, whether you meant it or not. And no, you don't want that. So what you do is you
Parts
give
are
that
parts.
you give that side hug. Give me that Christian side hug.
I need to put together a playlist on YouTube with that Christian side hug video, and also You Ain't Got No Pancake Mix video. If you know what I'm
You
talking
ain't got
about.
no
You know what I'm
pancake.
talking
There ain't no
about.
pancake mix in there.
No. He was simply saying, you ain't got no pancake mix.
Yes, that is classic. Classic one for our
If you know what I
religious
mean.
Oh, see, Steve's in the chat. He says, I'm going to give Robert a nice bro hug on Tuesday
Yeah.
at Opon Reception. All right. It's funny because if we were going to Europe, there are places in Europe where people like kiss each other on the cheek when they meet. There are places in Europe where guys kiss each other on the lips as a greeting.
Yeah.
I
very,
can
very-
handle a lot of cultures that are different than mine. I don't think I can handle that.
That's very either French or Greek or
Not-
something.
Yeah, not my jam.
Not so
But
sure.
hey, you do you. You get whatever body contact works for you.
You get to go to give him a kiss and you'll be like, mwah.
Now, before we get to Robert and Amy take on the news, I have one more on this date. There is a birthday today. Somebody who's long, long past. But today we celebrate.
Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
Yes, I let you pronounce that because I would butcher it. And it would be very rude to butcher somebody on their birthday.
Yeah, Saint-Exupéry or Saint-Exupéry. He wrote The Little Prince, and
Charming story.
I actually have a biography of his that I need to finish reading, like a lot of books that I haven't finished reading. But he was actually in, I think, World War II. He was a reconnaissance flyer, I believe.
Yep.
And I think he was only about 44 years old or something like that, in his 40s.
Exactly right. 1944 when he passed away.
Yeah,
Middle of World War II.
What year was... Oh, yeah. He was born in 1900.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote other books, mainly kind of autobiographical about flying, and I have to go back and reread them, but they were nice books to read as a
Yes.
teenager.
And if you, when you were young, never read The Little Prince, you don't have to be young. Read it. Take it in. If you are the kind of person who would say it's kind of woo, doesn't matter. Take it in. There's wisdom in there, and
Yeah,
there's
there
joy
is.
in there, and there's charm in there. And
I need to reread it. And when I first read it, I had 2 copies from the library. One was in English, and the other one was in French. So I was trying to learn French while going back and forth between the books. And as a matter of fact, I need to do that still with, we have a copy of Atlas Shrugged, La Grève, which is a French translation of Atlas Shrugged.
yes.
And I don't know how good the translation is, but it's mainly called, La Grève is the strike.
Which is also the case in Spanish and in Portuguese. And it's very strange because Ayn Rand had thought about calling the book The Strike, and she said, or she decided, and I'm not going to call it this, that gives away the plot.
Yeah, yeah, it takes away the mystery.
So she called it Atlas Shrugged, which is a
Right.
little more cryptic. And yet, all of these translations are out there, and the name of the book is The Strike.
Yeah. La grève as in the grievance.
The Grievance. The Grievance isn't so bad. It doesn't give away the plot, it just gives away the theme. Not really the theme, it's the mind on strike. But yes, yes. Love, love, love that. So, new feature, just started a few weeks ago. Robert and Amy take on the news. And,
Oh, what's in the news?
well, the usual, the nonsense. I can't say anything about what's going on in the Middle East because it's so badly, it's not wrapped up. It's constantly floating. Who knows what's going to happen next? I did think that it was good that Elon Musk is still railing against the BBB, the big beautiful bill that is big but is not beautiful. And yeah, Elon Musk said that President Donald Trump's big beautiful bill will, quote, destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country, unquote. Now, I shared a story from the New York Times about that. Being a New York Times subscriber, I can do that, and you don't have to be a subscriber to click those links and follow them. And the first response I get is this, and this is going to lead us into our theme for the night. Somebody named Adam, I don't think I'm friends with him, but I post publicly, so anybody can reply. Probably a mistake that I may remedy that someday soon. He says, well, Musk is pissed that all the green energy subsidies were removed. Telling. I love the word telling there. Well, isn't that, he's either meaning, isn't that telling, or what, he's going to tell on Musk? He's going to tell his dad or something?
No.
Telling.
Like typical capitalist,
Yeah, it's very telling
hypocritical
that he would do
person, and he's a shill for oil.
Yes. The only thing I said, it is a bill and it is big, but it's not beautiful. And that's what you get from loyalists who say, well, Trump, he's not really thinking twice about, or said Musk. Musk isn't really thinking twice about the Trump administration. He's not really criticizing the bill because it's a bad bill. He's just mad because he's not getting his green subsidies. He's just mad because SpaceX isn't going to get as much government money. He's just mad because Tesla is not going to get green subsidies. Now, I don't doubt for a minute that Elon Musk is disappointed about those things. But the idea that every criticism is something pragmatic and petty,
Right.
even though these are people functioning at the billions of dollars level, I guess as long as you can make sure your narrative never has to be questioned. What's missing there, the startling thing that's missing there, and I've mentioned this recently, but I'm going to mention it again and relate it to a couple things. A striking failure of goodwill and curiosity. People like that, none of you would do this, but you'll know what I'm talking about. They don't want to come to a situation with, I won't even say an open mind, I'll say an open heart, earnestly, honestly questioning, not just judging and then immediately applying a condemnation, but really wondering, well, what is going on here? Not just with the person, condemn the person,
Yeah,
but with the issue, the actual issue.
A certain amount of vulnerability you need to have.
Yes.
And with vulnerability is a show of strength, instead of closing yourself off.
Vulnerability is always, well, not always. Vulnerability is strength, you're right.
In that context.
Because a strong person is the person who can afford to come along and say, not, I hate what you said, but, oh, why did you say that? Why do you believe that? What do you really believe? Do I understand you correctly? Why would a person believe what you believe? Oh, because he's an innovator, because he's evil, because he's stupid, because people are sheep. Except those are never really the answer. It's very rare that those are the answer to the question. I don't think you're right. Why do you think that? What are your reasons? What are you thinking? What are you connecting that to? What's your context? No, there's an extreme failure of curiosity. The Ted Lasso fans will know the dart game, the scene with the dart game. There's a link to it in the show notes. The idea that it's not just reckless to jump right to the judgment of a situation without fully grasping it. It's also self-destructive. It's harmful. It's dangerous. It's not good for you. It doesn't get you anything, except sometimes a smug satisfaction. Oh, well, I judged him, and I washed my hands of him, and condemned him, insulted him, posted a meme on his timeline. Whatever the... I don't even understand anymore how people get anything out of that. Even pseudo self-esteem. What's the joy of that?
Well, there's not a lot of joy. It's just mainly validation of your really horrible view of life. That's what it usually comes down to.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Because even if you determined that your worst judgment of a situation, a person, a situation, is true. I mean, suppose it really is the case that Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is also petty enough that he's going to go on X and post about this bill only because he's upset about not getting his subsidies. Then is your mockery and cynicism regarding that helping? Is it helping you? Is it helping the situation? Is it helping you then decide what to do next? Or is it still the case that even if there's a huge heaping helping of pragmatism and emotionalism, it's still the best case that you yourself focus on the facts? So, Robert and Amy take on the news. Bottom line on the big beautiful bill, and Elon Musk in relation to the big beautiful, but do you forget Musk? Bottom line, this big beautiful bill, which is, again, it is a bill, it is big, it's not beautiful, it's disastrous. But here's the thing. This will call back to our discussion of Serenity. The bill's going to pass, or it's not going to pass. That's going to happen either way, no matter what you think and what you say and what you post on your social media. And I love posting on social media, but it's either going to pass or it won't. And incidentally, budget bills always pass. Eventually, they find a way to reconcile it enough to run it through reconciliation. They always pass. Here's my question for you. And it's what I hope is a helpful question. Are you going to let that ruin your day? What do you mean it's a fact? I have to judge it, and if it's a negative thing, then I have to let it affect me negatively. There's some truth to that. You don't want to be stoic, and you don't want to be evasive, but beyond figuring out, well, what do I need to do about it? Maybe I need to change my tax strategy or my budget, or write a letter to my congresspeople and let them know what I think. Share my opinion on social media. Beyond that, you going to let that ruin your day? You going to let that ruin your week? Are you going to give them, capital T, all those thems out there, are you going to let them have that much power? Well, I take my big protest sign, I hold it up and say, no, I'm not going to let them have that much power. I hope you will not let them have that much power too. By all means, speak your mind and even be passionate about it. Passionate and rational. Not stoic, just willing to find serenity.
All right. Or not. No.
Yeah.
No, I was just thinking about, there's a song by Black Flag called My War. And the lyrics are, some lyrics are, my war, you're one of them. You say that you're my friend, but you're one of them.
Yeah.
And anyway, there's more to the song. But
That's good. No, you've shown me the lyrics to that one before and played it for me, and it's good.
There's so much wisdom in punk rock.
It really is.
at least as a foil.
It cuts through. It cuts
really
through
does.
the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen's in the chat. Hi, Stephen. And Jason says, had a similar conversation with grocery stores in New York possibly being run by the government. Oh yeah, that's a total nightmare with Zamran there. I'm gonna have to memorize
I am Zamran.
Mondavi's name. I can't believe it.
Take me to your leader.
It's jaw-dropping. You just literally can't believe. It's kind of like when Trump got reelected.
Yeah.
Bad enough when he got elected, but when he got reelected, you just can't believe that happened. The same thing in New York with this crazy socialist.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I understand, this guy has some charisma.
Yeah.
And I think that was attractive to
Oh, yeah.
people. And just like people interpret Donald Trump as having charisma.
Yeah.
As being attractive.
No, it's
really
powerful
sad.
stuff. Yeah, there's no other explanation for the fact, for example, that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is a senator. How is that possible? Well, because she has a certain charm, now if you hate her ideas, and I say she has a certain charm, a certain charisma, she's kind of attractive, you'll be all like, no, she's not. She really is. She's not great in that way, but just like Sarah Palin had a certain charm, got her to the level of being a vice presidential candidate. She was nuts. Her ideas were nuts. If you listen to her speeches, eventually she'd say something where you're like, oh my God. But you're right, charisma is a thing. And this guy apparently has it. So I send my sympathy out to those of you in New York. You're going to see your city, if not degrade, then at least stall in progress for a while.
I mean,
it won't be the end of New York.
Not unless, I mean, I think, I mean, there's some hope with regard to, I think there was somebody who was putting up like $4 or $5 million or something like that to fund somebody to run against the guy or something along those lines. Anyway, there's some political strategies that are at play. We'll see. And even if he does get into office, hopefully there's enough people around him to tell him no. Yeah.
Yeah. Bonnie's in the chat and says, on principle, I won't watch any Trump now. Something going on with him in the Congo? No interest. Because there's too much good that does interest me that I want to do and not enough time. Bonnie, that's exactly the right attitude. Now, I'll stay informed. I keep up with what Trump's shenanigans are, but you're right. There's only so much time you want to put into that. Add to that the fact that whatever Trump is doing this week, he will do something completely different that's horrible next week to make you forget what he did this week. A few of these things have had maybe a 2-week bit of staying power to them, but yeah, you got to limit that stuff. You want to be informed, but only so much. So the nice thing about having Yaron Brook on the scene is he at least will keep you informed, but also somewhat entertained. And good insights, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steven says, is she a senator? Oh, AOC. She's in the House of Representatives?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for straightening me out. And I get my Congress critters all mixed up. So thank you for that.
I'm glad she's not in the Senate.
Yes, that would be even more
representative.
power, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way,
But give her time.
Thanks, Jim. Over on Facebook, he mentioned the names of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's books.
You see now why I had her say the name.
Yeah, there's Night Flight, Wind, Sand, and Stars, Flight to Arras, and Southern Mail.
Excellent.
I don't think I've read Southern Mail, but way back then I read those first 3 books, and they're good. I mean, they're I don't know, maybe a little bit naturalistic, but it was fun just reading something that it was semi-sophisticated, as a teenager.
Yeah.
Other than Nietzsche or the encyclopedias, and I would just sit there and read the dictionary all day.
Kind of makes me think of Richard Bach in that he wrote books about flying. He was a barnstormer.
Yeah.
He'd take people up on airplanes and travel around the country. And those books to me were they were okay, but they weren't as interesting to me as the fanciful stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I read a lot of weird things.
Didn't we all? How could we have ended up where we did without that?
It's a wonderful thing to be weird, or to be different.
To be creative and open to different things.
Yes.
So under Shameless Self-Promotion, I shared the Life on Earth episode, Evict Your Enemies, which fits in with our theme. You do want to evict your enemies. There's the old expression. People have used it forever. Rush Limbaugh used to use it a lot. about his enemies, he would say, "Oh yeah, that person who's talking about me is living. I'm living rent free in his head." Well, you don't want your enemies to live rent free in your head, so I say evict them, get them out of your head.
Yes.
And talked about that quite a bit in that episode. I thought it was good, and if you didn't hear that originally, or if you haven't heard it in a while, that's worth a watch. But the second thing that is in Shameless Self-Promotion, what are we listening to this week? There is a page, I don't know if it's on Substack or if it's just a blog, called Experimental History. And Harry Binswanger brought this up today on HBL's Sunday show, his Meeting of the Minds.
I didn't hear that. What is
And
this about?
The Experimental History blog is worth reading because it's a smart guy saying smart things, and that's what they were sharing. Things that are not necessarily, in Harry's case, objectivist things, but that are of value. And, it's sharing values. Let's share our values, things that we think are valuable. And, Adam Mastriani is the writer there. And he gave an example of an essay that Adam wrote, Adam Mastriani. And the essay is, "Face it, you're a crazy person." And I thought it was interesting because the theme of this is, why don't people execute on their dreams? For example, if your dream is to write a novel, or your dream is to open a coffee shop, and a lot of people never get to the first steps, which is taking this big idea and breaking it down. And if they did, they would see, well, okay, to open a coffee shop, I would need an investment or I would need investors, but I would also need to find a location and lease that spot, and then I would need to fix it up. But then to operate the coffee shop, I would have to, or somebody I work with that works for me would have to keep an inventory and order things every day or every week and make sure we don't run out of things, and if we do, get more in. But even more than that, there's the daily routine of actually running the coffee shop. You think, oh, I love that. I love talking to people. I love serving people. I like the smiles. Well, yeah, but you're also running an espresso machine 48 times every day. And you're pouring drinks 48, 50, 100 times every day. And you're doing and then at the end of the day, you're cleaning the place up, and you're mopping the floors, and you're putting the chairs up, and you're paying the electrical bill. If you break down everything involved in opening a coffee shop, what you figure out is that you'd have to be a crazy person to open a coffee shop. Why would you open it? Why would you put yourself through that? Unless you are crazy enough, unless that's your thing, unless you have such a passion for it that you can look at the breakdown and then do the thing. And then in this article, it's a long piece, but it's worth reading. He talks about if you want to write a novel, what's involved in that. Well, think about the kind of discipline, all the things you need to say no to, and then lock yourself away for 4 or 6 or 8 hours a day. And all of the obstacles that you'll run into, and all of the things where while you're doing these, you'll have people requesting your time for other things, and on and on and on. Well worth reading this article, "Face It, You're a Crazy Person," with the idea that only a crazy person would actually execute on their dreams. But if you can be that crazy person, you should go for it. It was interesting because Jean Maroney, who's very good on these kinds of issues and has a different, more realistic approach, recommended that people actually listen to Brooke Castillo's podcast, which I used to listen to. I need to pick that up again. I actually discovered her before I heard Jean recommend her. A little more grounded, a little more sure all of that's true. But if you follow Jean and Brooke's ideas, it's actually not that hard then to take each one of those obstacles and say, what would it take then to execute on that? What would it take to make that happen? And the resistance or the challenges I run into, what would it take for me, my personality, my psychology to overcome that? And Jean can help you with that. In fact, if you're going to be in Boston this week, you have an opportunity. Check your mail if you're on her mailing list, and if not, subscribe to it to attend a session with her this week.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I thought that was really good.
When is that?
I'd have to check the date.
Okay.
You have to look into it. But go to Jean
cool.
Maroney's website, thinkingdirections.com. And I suspect you can find out more there. If you're on her mailing list, you can look in your email too, and you'll find information.
I thought I was on her email. I don't know. I sometimes my email is so filled with stuff that I just don't catch it.
Go delete a whole bunch and accidentally get something that we probably shouldn't have deleted. And that led me to the final thing that I wanted to discuss.
What?
Let me just double check the chat. No, I think we're still pretty caught up there. Mushrooms created modern man? What did I say that sounded like that? That must be in relation to something somebody said in the chat.
I'm not sure.
And are we talking about magic mushrooms there, or just a nice sautéed mushroom?
Oh, by the way, Iggy Pop is 5'6".
5'6". Yeah, I knew it.
Which is my height.
I've looked that up. I knew he wasn't 5'1". Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Bonnie says Tuesday at 4:30. She thinks.
Sounds right.
Okay, very good, very good.
yes. And if you didn't sign up for it, just track Jean down at the conference and tell her you'd like to do it. And Jean is the most, I'm not going to say easygoing, but the kindest, nicest, most charming, cheerful, everything that you would want in a life coach.
Yes.
Or a session leader for a session like this. So under Hot Topics this week, Jewel, the singer. She was on Instagram looking very different. She looks like she's had some work. She looks nice. Older now, you know, I think of her as that young girl with a guitar on back in the 90s. But a news headline came up in my news feed. This one was the Google, which I let them aggregate the news for me. On January 20th, 2025, Jewel made a surprise performance singing Over the Rainbow at the Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Cheryl Hines at the Make America Healthy Again inauguration ball. Okay, one of my favorite artists was involved in the president's inauguration ball, or performing at the event. I might think, oh, that's kind of weird. But the news headlines, fans are stunned, both by her willingness to do anything with the Trump administration, and now they're going for her looks, for this work that she seems to have done. Quote, I love her, but I don't recognize her. And there was an Instagram post, again, where she looks very happy. And it was just constant piling on. For every post I saw where somebody said, Jewel, I still think you're the best, there were 25 people. I can't believe you're willing to play for Robert F. Kennedy. I can't believe you're willing to be at the Trump inauguration. I get it. I get the disappointment, but it's just nasty and ugly. It reminds me of the way that people go after J.K. Rowling these days. And I thought, none of these people criticizing, again, easily 25 just nasty people for every person who still seemed to support her, none of them posted their comments with a question. Nobody asked, well, why'd you choose to do that? That seems disappointing. Or just, I wonder. Nobody asks questions. Nobody is curious. Nobody is earnest. Nobody comes at it with goodwill. This is somebody who you loved as an artist, and now you're going to let them turn you into somebody with seething hatred who has to get on the internet and insult her? Why? And here's my question to anybody out there for whom that kind of resonates, whether you're pro or con. What's in it for you? What's your selfish motivation? Now, I get moral clarity. Sometimes people do need to be denounced for the things they do. And I'm all in favor of that. This is not that. This is a pop star, a rock star. People on the left, maybe I shouldn't say that like I'm surprised. 2 weeks ago, it was people on the right condemning Bruce Springsteen because he is anti-Trump. People who loved Bruce Springsteen are all just, oh, I hate you now. I can't listen to your music. I'm throwing away your record albums.
Sometimes people just look for things to complain about.
Why though? What is their selfish interest in it?
Um,
Do they think it does them some good? Is it like a substitute for morality in their life?
no, but I think that they just put things out to process whatever they're reading or trying to figure out what they think about it. And then they put it out on the internet and they see what other people are saying so that they know what other people are thinking and perhaps they're going to think the same thing. I'm not entirely sure. I think, it's just when something contentious like that comes up, just people are just very emotionalistic. That's basically what that is. But yeah, no, Jewel, I mean, I guess she apologized to fans. She said, "I do not agree on all the politics," she said. I guess.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, she specifically apologized to her LGBTQ fans.
Makes sense. And there are people in the LGBTQ, ABC, PDQ community who are honestly hurt by what's going on. Similar with J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
And the people who express that honestly and earnestly and without venom, I have seen, for example, in this case, Jewel will say, I'm sorry if that hurt you. And that is the way that it should be. So, my bottom line in that regard is, dear people, I'll steal a line from Bob Newhart, stop it! Just stop. Just don't. For your own sake. I'm not saying you're doing something bad and you should stop. No, for your own selfish, personal self-interest. Just stop.
Yeah. And there is, I'll say this, there's one concept that I learned actually from The Artist's Way, which is the one self-help book written by Julia Cameron, is that people look for substitute for productive activity.
Yes.
And anything that causes them anxiety. It's like the anxiety that you know and that you're comfortable with having. And that's the kind of thing people engage in.
Yes.
And I understand that. I've caught myself, kind of doing those things in the past. And, I'm like, like doom scrolling or, thinking about the news too much. And it's like, is this becoming sort of like a substitute for productive activity?
Yes.
because it's almost like you're looking for something that it's easy to do, but provides you with a feeling of kind of tension, like you're actually doing something, but you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And, so yeah, it's very it's something that you've really got to introspect on and ask yourself, why are you doing this? Just like you were talking about earlier about being curious and taking ideas seriously, and also having the courage to talk to people as the human being,
Right.
And being vulnerable about it. But
Yep.
yeah.
Ironically, Scott in the chat says, well, in the Jewel case, as soon as you say Jewel case, I'm thinking CDs, because that's what those plastic boxes for CDs are called. But anyway, in the Jewel case, they're enforcing ideological/partisan loyalty. And I'm sure there's some of that, because there's a lot of that out there on the left and the right. In, I would say, equal measure, although I imagine Scott would probably claim it's not as bad on the right. Yeah, there's certainly some of that out there. And those aren't the kind of people that I would try to reach in a discussion like this anyway. Jason says, and this is fun. Fun fact, my brother had Jewel in his school at the same time at Interlaken, and both have played for Trump, where my brother is in the Air Force band. See, that's just cool. Even if you're highly critical of Trump, as some of us are, that's just cool. That's awesome. So, very, very cool. Incidentally, I had printed this out. In fact, now that since we got our remote camera and not our usual setup, I can hold this up because I'm like right by the camera. I put this up as a post at one point. The world is changed by your example, not by your opinion. This is a quote. I didn't say that. And it was fun and funny because I immediately had to clarify right away. If you mean by your opinion, ideas, well, of course, it's ideas that change the world. So the way I put it was, this is an oversimplification, because obviously ideas matter, but the point stands. And I got pushback from one person, and then, listening to your own Brooke, a day or two later, somebody actually asked him in the chat, is it true that the world is changed by your example, not by your opinion? And this isn't even somebody who commented on my thread, so maybe he saw this somewhere else and happened to ask Yaron Brooke the same question. But in any event, when I say the point stands, what I mean is, yeah, it's obviously ideas. It's ideas that change the world. And if you believe that your opinions are also ideas, in other words, what you're putting out in the world isn't just your opinion, it's actually true, then, by all means, put it out there. But, well, Amy, you once said, I don't know if I can quote you verbatim, but maybe, you once said, fighting the left while acting like a bunch of lowlifes doesn't cut it. Oh, you remember.
Yeah,
and I think that's the same theme. The world is changed not just by good ideas, but by good ideas coming from good people.
Right. Yes.
And, I've run into some of that lately, keyboard warriors who think that they're going to correct me on all the things I'm wrong on, and they're the ones who are going to save the world. I love it if you are intelligent and you have intelligent things to say and you sit at a keyboard and you post them on the internet and you help people understand. Unless you are also one of those people who lacks earnestness, including curiosity, but just earnestness. If your goal is to find out what everybody else is wrong about and then correct them, and talk about attempting pseudo-self-esteem. Or even if you're doing it earnestly, but that's all you've got, think twice about that. If you're going to engage with people, engage. And with people.
Right.
It sounds crazy to say, well, on the internet, you should treat people kind of like you'd treat them if you were actually there with them. Treat them as if they're actual people. But there is so much more in it for you. And I'll always come back to that. Spewing venom is not in your self-interest. Even when you're going to criticize somebody who rightly deserves to be criticized, always know your purpose. Always know why you're doing it. And be prepared to back it up with your own character. Because the world is changed by your opinion, but only if it is also changed by your example.
Yeah. I think I wrote in your thing, it's sort of like a quote that was sort of attributed to Gandhi, which is, be the change you want to see in the world. Be the change you want to see in the world. I love that quote because I have my own personal understanding of it. Yeah, exactly. I do too, yeah. Yeah. And there's definitely a rational interpretation of it. Some people take it as, well, that's how you change the world, one person at a time. And the obvious response to that is, no, people are still being jerks out there, no matter how rational and persuasive and all the virtues, or even if I'm just kind and generous, people still suck. The reason to be the change you want to see in the world is if you lived in a world where everybody sucks, spoiler alert, they don't, it's not really that kind of world, but if you live in a world where too many people suck, and you go out there and you be honest and you be earnest and you be open, and openness, like vulnerability, is strength. Trust me, if you are vulnerable, you ain't strong. Point is, if you are out there doing your own best, even if other people aren't, you now live in a world where one more person out there is doing their best. If you are kind, you now live in a world where one more person is kind, even if it's just you. But it's not just you. Point is, if you do it, you start seeing it. You start seeing that world. And you can avoid the people who aren't rational.
or the people who aren't earnest, or the people who aren't kind. When you are that, it's so much easier. So I like that phrase, even though there's a way to take it in which it's not rational. I like that expression, be the change you want to see in the world. When I am a good person, I change the room I'm in. You know, we talk about people who, don't you want to be the kind of person whose smile lights up a whole room? Well, don't you want to be the kind of person whose virtue, whose style, whose class, whose benevolence raises the level of all of those things in any room that you are in? You have that power. It's a superpower, but it's not really a superpower. It's an ordinary power that anybody can execute on. And you absolutely should and have the right, and you deserve to do that, again, for your own selfish sake, for your own self-interest.
Yes.
And that, before we finish packing our bags and leaving on a jet plane, is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, yeah. We've only got about 9 minutes left here. I know Euron's going to be going on at 7 o'clock.
Is he?
Yes, he is.
I did not know that.
That's what it said.
Well, we're going to avoid that
on the
conflict
interweb.
then.
But, no, okay. But any questions here? We've got, what's the best legal drama on TV today? I have no idea. I don't really watch television that's, like, current.
That's true. Yeah, we don't watch network TV or.
And he says Law and Order. I don't know. Law and Order.
Well, we
I have
watched.
no
We
idea.
did just watch one of those quirky British detective series, and it is current, actually.
Yeah, yeah. It's called Death Valley.
Death Valley, and it's not about Death Valley
It's
in
British.
the United States. It's a British detective
It's
series.
in Wales.
It's about a valley where there are deaths, but
In
not
Wales.
Death Valley. Yeah, go figure.
Where they speak Welsh.
Yeah. There's actually, Matthew would appreciate that. There's actually people speaking
Yeah.
Welsh.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's with what's the gentleman's name? He played Wormtail in Harry Potter, and his name is
Timothy Spall.
Yes. Yeah, he's good. It's a fun show. I mean, it's kind of over the top and it's a little ridiculous, but it's a fun show. It's
Yeah.
lighthearted. I like it.
And if you're like me and you've only ever seen that actor play that Harry Potter character, it's much more fun to see him playing a good guy. Quirky and very lighthearted. It's not quite a comedy, but it's kind of a comedy.
There's comedic elements to
Yeah.
it, which we appreciate.
It's a series that doesn't take itself too seriously, but it is well crafted, and that's kind of our style. So.
Yeah, I think this is the second time that Stephen has asked us, have we seen The
The
Materialists?
Materialists. When I saw the previews, it didn't seem interesting.
I don't know.
I think I mentioned last week or a week before that it seemed like beautiful, wealthy, successful people running into issues. And I'm pretty beautiful, and we're reasonably wealthy, but no, we're not. And I'm not interested in that. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me in the chat is there a theme or something
What did
about
you
it that's
like?
interesting
I
other
mean-
than it's a bunch of really attractive people.
I read there's a bit of a plot device where she's trying to make a decision between two different guys, her ex and somebody else, and there's some sort of like romantic comedy involved. Maybe, I don't know, but anyway, it might be interesting. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, maybe when it comes out on cable. Not that we have cable, but you know what I mean. When it comes out on streaming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Okay, let's wrap up here with
Yes. So definitely do. It's funny. I was going to say, stay tuned or click over, or however it is you get from here to what Yaron's doing at 7 o'clock. But yeah, I think I've made the point that I wanted to make. Stay curious, stay honest, stay earnest, be incredibly, more than you can imagine, selfish. Again, not the caricature of self, but self-interested. People say, well, should you really be selfish? Shouldn't you care about your wife? Shouldn't you care about your kids? Shouldn't you care about your community? What about other people? And I'm planning to do a whole episode on that, but the long and short of it is, yeah, all of that's in your self-interest. You can do it badly. There are ways to self-sacrifice. But do you think it is in your self-interest? Do you think it's selfish to sit in a room, have your computer be your eyes to the world, never engage with real people? No, other people are the best. They're the second highest value in any rational person's life. So,
Yeah.
false dichotomy there.
Yeah.
I do want you to be 100% self-interested, and that means incorporating all of the values out there that are values, that are of value to you. And I don't know a single thing, a single object out there that is as valuable to me as my wife, my daughter, my mother, the people who matter to me.
Yes.
People know how much I love my guitars. They know how much a lot of things. But
Yeah.
all of it, all
Yeah.
of the above, please, that is the self-interested answer.
You can get a lot out of people. You can bring out the best in them.
Yes.
You can, give what you have to offer, see if they take it, try to, bring out the best in them. If they don't take it, they don't take it. But you can try and you can keep trying. And,
Yes.
yeah.
You can be the person whose smile lights up a room, or at least your corner of the room.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
And Christine, Steve said that Christine met Iggy Pop in Ann Arbor, and she can attest to his shortness.
yes.
Or
That's so cool.
I know.
Oh, and one more because I left out pets. Jason says, Jason Adams of Objectivists Matters says, and your pets. Got to take care of the pets.
Yes.
Pets are an extraordinary value. Read Jonathan Hodig's book on that, even though I have issues with it, because he excludes rabbits. He thinks bunnies can't give you what a dog gives you. But read his book anyway on pets.
Wait, who said that?
Jonathan Hodig.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's explicitly anti-bunny.
He's not anti-bunnies. He just, I think him and maybe Yaron too. No, it wasn't Yaron. It might have been. No, I'm gonna have to listen to the interview again. Anyway, didn't mean to get into it, but yes, Jason is right. Include your pets in your hierarchy of values.
Yes.
They are living things that can give you a certain kind of joy that inanimate objects cannot. I love inanimate objects. I love automobiles. I love musical instruments. I love all sorts of things. But the best things in life aren't things, to steal a cliche. So, with that said, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Went like the whole 12 times 5 minutes, which is kind of longer than I thought that we would go. And we are on the remote equipment, which doesn't look too bad on my screen. Hopefully the audio and the video were okay this week, because if we go live this week coming up, it will be with this equipment, and it will sound just this good or just this bad, whatever it is. Thank you for joining us, folks. We need your money. Okay, I don't usually say that, but Amy, you're the one who usually will remind people. And I'm going to say it this week.
We want value for value.
Yeah,
oh,
that's what
your line.
Yaron says. Yeah, that's his line. Look, this is a trade. I shouldn't
If you
mock
like
it
the
because
show,
it's true.
value for value, then if you want to trade with us spiritually, show us with money.
If hanging out with us on Sunday nights is worth $2 or $5 or a few dollars a month, patreon.com/Robert Nasir. Or if it's worth a one-time contribution, paypal.com/Robert Nasir. And why Robert instead of Amy? Because I'm the one who set it up. But if you're giving me anything, you're giving Amy something too.
Goes directly in my pocket.
And those of you who will be in Boston, do come up to us. Probably not hugs, at least not right away, but please introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Make yourself known. If I've met you before, but I look like I don't quite remember your name, please tell me your name
And if
again.
you're going to be in Boston, I made for very special people who I like the most.
Including anybody who watches and listens to us regularly.
I have buttons.
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 You've got to see these buttons.
They have Ayn Rand's face on them.
Some of them do, but
some
some of them
say-
have great...
Like the universe is knowable. Ask me how.
Ask me how.
I swear by my life and my love of it. ... Read Ayn Rand.
You've got conversation starters on
Ooh,
there.
so much. Proud
Yeah.
objectivist.
Don't give them all away, because some of you will only get to find out what they say if either you come to Ocon or you meet somebody who went.
Yeah. All right.
That's it. We got to
That's
go.
it.
We've got, oh, geez, we're out of time. Go listen to Yaron. Go to our Patreon. Thank you for coming. We wish you all the success you so richly deserve. And, the schmaltzy part, because it's absolutely true, we wish you love.